Hello, Scriven County Schools. Welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday. I'm your instructional technology coach, Marlene Harris. In this week's episode, I'd like to show you some keyboard shortcuts that'll help improve your productivity. So let's begin by looking at some of the fundamental keyboard shortcuts. You may wonder why it's important to learn these keyboard shortcuts. First of all, the more you keep your fingers on the keyboard, the more you'll increase your productivity. So these keyboard shortcuts will eliminate the need to move your hand from the mouse to the keyboard repeatedly. The shortcuts that I'll show you today work with most applications that you use on a daily basis. In Microsoft, these shortcuts will work in Word, PowerPoint, Outlook. In the Google Suite, they'll work with Docs, Slides, Gmail. Also, some of the shortcuts will work in PDFs and on websites. So the fundamental shortcuts that you may already be familiar with is the Control-C, which copies the selected item onto your computer's clipboard, the Control-V, which moves the item from your clipboard to the selected app. This is also known as the paste option, and Control-Z will undo the last action that was performed. Let's look at an example of these three shortcuts. To select the desired text, I'll use my mouse to place my cursor inside of my box. If I double-click, I will select the whole word. If I triple click, I'll select all of the text in that text box. Now I can use my shortcut to Control-C, tab over to the right column, and Control-V, and it pastes that text for me. To undo that last action, I'll Control-Z. Now we'll look at some shortcuts that you may not be familiar with. The Control-L grabs the URL address on the current web page that you may be browsing, and Control-K opens a link dialog window for the selected text. Since we'll be working in our web browser, it may be helpful also to know how to navigate tabs using shortcuts. Control-Tab will move to the Browser tab to the right. Control-Shift-Tab will move to the Browser tab to the left. So let's look at an example of combining all of these shortcuts. This is a website that I would like to link in a document. To grab the address for that website, instead of taking my hands off the keyboard and manipulating the mouse, I'm simply going to Control-L, and if you'll notice, that highlighted our address. Then I'm going to Control-C to copy that to my clipboard. Now I need to go back to my document that is 2 tabs to the left. So I'm going to Control-Shift-Tab, Tab. That puts me back on my document. Now I can paste the link in my document if I double click on the word that I want to hyperlink, and then I'm going to Control-K to open up the link box, and then Control-V to paste the link from the clipboard into that box. Instead of using the mouse to click apply, I'm simply going to enter. To recap, I'm going to Control-Z to unlink the word here. Then I'm going to Control-Tab to move 2 tabs to the right back to the website that I'm going to hyperlink. Control-L, grab the link. Control-C, copy the link. Control-Shift, Tab, Tab, back to my document. Select the word by double-clicking. Control-K, Control-V, enter. Another handy shortcut is the Control-F, which allows you to find every occurrence of a word or a phrase in a document that you're viewing. Control-H will allow you to find every occurrence of a word or a phrase and replace it with another word or a phrase as long as you have editing privileges in that document. So let's look at an example of Control-F and Control-H. This spreadsheet was published by the Georgia Department of Education and includes all the schools in Georgia. To find Scriven County Schools without browsing through the whole spreadsheet, I would simply Control-F, and if you'll notice in the top right corner, we're going to get a search box. And I'll find Scriven County in this sheet. Notice that Scriven County appears 3 times in this spreadsheet, and everywhere that it appears, that column is highlighted. So I can scroll to the next appearance of Scriven County by using the down arrow, and it'll take me to occurrence 2 of 3. And once more will take me to 3 of 3. And if I want to navigate back up to the first occurrence, I can use the up arrow. To replace any word or phrase in this spreadsheet with another word or phrase, I'll use Control-H. And this dialog box appears, and if I want to find every incidence of Scriven County and say replace it with an abbreviation, I can abbreviate SCSS and then choose to replace all. And if you'll watch the spreadsheet, where everywhere it says Scriven County, it'll replace that with SCSS instead. Control F is a very handy feature for PDFs as well. If you'll notice, this PDF is 103 pages. If I'm only interested in one thing in this PDF without having to scroll through and search the entire PDF, I can Control F and search for waves. And it'll tell me there are 53 occurrences of that word, and then I can scroll through my document and it highlights every occurrence of the word waves. Last but not least, I'd like to show you some shortcuts for working in your web browser. Control-Shift-T allows you to reopen closed tabs. As a bonus, here's a shortcut to close multiple tabs at once. If you're like me, when working in Google Chrome, you end up with several tabs that are open at once. If you're not using these tabs, you really need to close them out, as they're using computing resources and they may be slowing down your computer. So if you would like to close multiple tabs at once, simply right-click on the leftmost tab that you want to keep open and choose Close Tabs to the right, and it'll close out everything that you have open to the right of that tab. And I'd like to thank Mr. Von Waldner for that helpful tip, because I use it on a regular basis. Please share this Tech Tip Tuesday if you find it helpful. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to our next episode.